This is handstand push-up. This is one-arm push-up. This is one-arm handstand. So is one-arm handstand push-up possible? I don't think it is, and here's why. There are three things that need to happen to make a handstand push-up possible. You have to be able to hold the starting position, you have to be able to hold the end position, you need to be able to generate enough force to move yourself from starting position to the end position. So let's see if these requirements are theoretically possible to meet in the one-arm handstand push-up. And just to clarify, I'm talking about freestanding, full range and strict one-arm handstand push-up. First, we're gonna investigate the last point and we'll go over some math to see if it would even be possible for a human to generate enough force using significantly simplified model. I want to focus on pure strength for now, so first I'm gonna look at lifting weights instead of the body. The closest movement pattern to handstand push-up that uses weights is strict overhead press. Unfortunately, it's not an Olympic event such as clean and jerk, so it's not easy to find world records, but I'm gonna do my best to estimate these numbers. The heaviest strict press in a good form I was able to find was this one. It's performed by Dmitry Klokov, who's an Olympian and world champion in weightlifting, so I'm gonna assume he's as strong as they come. He pressed 162.5 kilograms while weighing 105 himself, or at least that's the weight class he's competing in. I know there's a bunch of videos where huge guys are lifting even heavier weights than this one, but the form is usually sloppy there and we're looking for an athlete with the lowest body weight anyway. That's because we're investigating a bodyweight exercise, so we need to look at the strength relative to the weight of the body. The rule is, the lighter you are, the bigger percentage of the body weight you can lift. You can clearly see it if you look at the world records for different weight classes in, for example, clean and jerk. If you divide the lift weight by the body weight, you get a measure of relative strength. We can see that the smallest guy has the biggest number, and in his case it means that he's able to clean and jerk a weight that's over 3 times his body weight. And that's why I'm gonna use his stature in my calculations. Because I wasn't able to find a strict press performed by someone on a world champion level in this weight class, I'm gonna use the proportions from clean and jerk to estimate that number. I am assuming here that the ratio between strict press and clean and jerk is the same for different athletes. While it's not necessarily true, it's good enough for these calculations. So if Klokov's personal best for clean and jerk is 232 kilograms and he was able to do 162.5 kilogram strict press, then theoretically the smaller guy should be able to do a 120 kilogram overhead press. However, to be able to compare that number to the force necessary to do a handstand push-up, we need to take into consideration that you don't actually lift your whole body weight when doing the push-up. I can do a handstand push-up, but there's no way I could do a strict press with the equivalent of my body weight on the bar. That's because you don't really lift the weight of your arms, since they don't even move upwards that much. I would say that the real weight that you're lifting is close to 85 or 90% of your body weight. So using the more conservative number, we can calculate the weight which our theoretical athlete would be pressing is around 50 kilograms. All these calculations were done to see if it's possible to press up at least 200% of your body weight with both arms, and 120 kilograms is around 238% of the body weight of that theoretical athlete. A world-class level athlete with a very small body weight has just enough strength to push more than 200% of his body weight with both arms in a pure strength isolated exercise such as strict overhead press. So in theory, it should be possible to lift above your head the equivalent of your body weight with just one arm. The issues are starting to pop up when we move on from calculations on paper to real-life movements. When you use both of your arms to push up the weight, your triceps and shoulders work in a very natural way. If you remove one arm here, nothing really changes and you should be able to push more or less 50% of the both arms' weight. However, the problem is that you wouldn't be able to hold a handstand this way. Balancing a handstand is all about trying to keep the center of mass of your body above the support you're providing. In this case, it's anywhere between your hands. However, if you just remove one arm, you're gonna fall down because the support area has changed. With only one hand on the ground, the center of mass of your body needs to move directly above that one hand, and it changes the position of your arm relative to the body. Now the arm is somewhere around here when it's extended. That's our end position. Let's now take a look where your arm has to be when it's completely bent in the starting position. The most natural position of the arm that gives you the most strength is the one used for overhead press or regular handstand push-up. However, with this arm placement, we're running into the same balance problem as before. It's not possible to simply lift one hand off the ground without falling down. You'd have to move the arm to the middle of the body, and that would place the shoulder in quite uncomfortable position. An alternative way of placing that arm is moving it to the side and leaning the whole body, but that may be even worse position for your shoulder. This starting position is what kills the dream of achieving strict one-arm handstand push-up, in my opinion. Pushing something above your head involves using mostly your shoulder muscles and triceps, but the latter starts helping out significantly only at the second part of the lift. When the elbow is completely bent, almost all the work is performed by the shoulder, and considering its weird placement, it cannot produce enough pushing power to initiate the move. The direction in which you'd have to push the weight is inclined and looks more or less like this. As you can see, it's far from the optimal movement that allows you to generate the maximum power. The final nail to the one-arm handstand push-up coffin are all the videos showing the attempts of doing that skill on YouTube. There is a rule stating that if something is humanly possible, there is a video of a Russian guy doing it on YouTube, and in this case, I couldn't find one. The attempts that I found are cool and impressive, but far from what I would agree is a successful one-arm handstand push-up. I'm not trying to shit on these guys, they're really strong and I respect them for pursuing this unattainable goal. I just want to show you how far that goal is. Take this guy for example. First of all, the range of motion is limited to the easier upper part of the full range. That's going to be true for all the videos. Secondly, he's using his legs to help out a lot. You can see that he's bending the hips so the feet don't move up and therefore less weight needs to be pushed up. And the right foot is in the corner because he's pushing against this wall to eliminate the balance problems of standing on one arm that I was talking about before. Here's a slightly better attempt, and we can see that the foot is moving up, but he's using it to climb the wall. The other foot is not moving because he's using it to push away from this plyboard for the same reason as the previous guy. Here, instead of pushing with the opposite foot, he's pulling with the other one to keep the balance. You can see how he's hooking it around the corner of the wall. Here's another creative way of cheating the balance issue and allowing the arm to work in a more natural way. He's stabilizing the position by pulling on his pants and thus transferring the weight on that leg. The leg itself is supported in the corner as in most cases. This is an attempt without cheating the balance issue that much, but as you can see he was able to extend his arm by bending the spine, not pushing up his whole weight. The closest thing you can find to a freestanding one-arm push-up is this move. In the end position they have to rest the body on the elbow and kick with their legs to be able to push through that lower part of the push-up. Even though this move is extremely difficult both strength-wise and balance-wise, it's far from the one-arm handstand push-ups we are looking for. I know that saying this skill is impossible to do is a rather risky statement. Everyone thought that running a mile in less than 4 minutes is physically impossible until it was done in 1954. However, in this case we're so far away from achieving that skill, I'm quite comfortable saying that full range, freestanding one-arm handstand push-up is impossible to do.